Hello YouTube and welcome to the channel. Now then, today's video we're looking at Eachine EC30B here, and this video has sort of been inspired by a comment left to me by a subscriber recently who said, did I ever manage to track down a suitable 14-tooth pinion for this thing? Because if you've watched the previous EC30B videos, we were basically trying to make it do the claimed 40 miles an hour that Eachine has claimed for this thing. I mean, if you watch the initial video, it does nowhere near. It's like 20 to half of that. And I said at the time, possibly with a bigger pinion, because I think we got it to about 27, 28 miles an hour, if I remember rightly. And I said with a bigger pinion, we'd probably be able to push over 30 miles an hour with this thing, I reckon, because we put a hot motor in it. Now, I started looking for a pinion for this thing ages ago, and for whatever reason I gave up or forgot, or it's probably a mixture of both. And the question from my subscriber just jogged a memory I'd had ages ago about the fact that I may have actually all along had a pinion for this thing, because if you remember back to the Flyhal FC610 video, upgrade video, I put a Xinlehong 14-tooth pinion on it, and it fitted. And I remember at the time I had a HBX 16889 pinion, and I married the two together, and I noticed that they were a similar pitch but different teeth. So anyway, I ended up ordering. We didn't use a Xinlehong pin. Well, we did use a Xinlehong pinion for a short period of time, but the 610 actually just destroyed it because it was brass. And I ended up ordering two of these 14-tooth 0.6 pitch, I believe, pinion gears for the Flyhal. Now then, I reckon that this, I'm sure at some point I actually married this up to the Flyhal pinion, and they're the same. And by pure logic, if a Flyhal pinion is the same pitch as the HBX pinion, then this little Surpass Hobby pinion, I'm getting there in the end, I promise. So it's 14 tooth, so I might have had a pinion in my stash all that time that fits this thing. Anyway, that's what we're going to find out today. We're going to take the lid off, we're going to take the motor out of it, we're going to try and fit this pinion, and hopefully all you have to do on these sort of HBX EBC sort of clones is reverse the motor mount, and it gives you I think you either have 12 or 14 tooth pinions you can use. So anyway, enough of the waffle. Let's try and bang this thing in and see if it fits. Right, now then, because I'm such a pleb, I actually forgot that these, as standard, are 14 tooth. The larger pinion we need is 16 tooth. But these Surpass Hobby pinion gears are in fact the same pitch. So what I have to do is order a 16 tooth in this, and we have got a larger pinion, because on the motor mount we've got a 16 tooth and a 14 tooth side. Now then, the upshot of this is these actually use the same pinion as HBX 16889 and the same pinion as the 901A. So I'm absolutely positive that the 14 tooth is the larger pinion gear we need on the 901A. So we can actually fit this to our 901A and see what happens. So what I'll do is I'll order some 16 tooth pinions for these, but in the meantime we can actually bang this on, and well, I think we can anyway, because I'm sure the standard's 12, but I think we can bang this on our 901A and see how fast that goes. So I've got the 901 here on the table. I think we might be onto a winner here, chaps, because on the motor mount I was right. There's a 12 tooth standard, and you can rotate the motor around to a slightly different position for 14 tooth. So that's precisely what we're going to do. Is we're going to try fitting this 14 tooth pinion and see how fast we can make this thing go. Motor's rotated in the mount, pinion gear is Loctited on, grease has been applied, and everything is dead smooth. So let's put the little cover on and we'll go and try this. Now I'm just waiting for the battery to charge up, but before I forget, if you've got a 901A or 901, etc., if you go and source a set of Xinlehong 9125, or I think it's XLF X03, X04 tyres, they're wider, so it means that this thing doesn't end up on its roof so often. It's a bit more stable with these wider tyres on. So there's a little bit of a tip there while I'm thinking about it. Like I say, just waiting for the batteries to charge up, and then we'll take this thing and try it. Unfortunately, I've just realised I've never ever tested this particular setup on anything but 3S. And unfortunately, I've only bought 2S batteries with me. But if I remember rightly, with this motor and two 2S batteries like we've got in at the moment, I think this thing did 34 miles an hour on a 12 tooth pinion. So we should see a reasonable improvement with a 14 tooth. But the conditions here are incredibly slippy. I don't think I've picked a very good day to do it, to be honest. Right then, back inside. Now then, unfortunately the camera batteries died before I had a chance to record the speed I got out of this thing. But to be honest, it probably wasn't worth recording anyway. Because I got 35 miles an hour out of it. Now, this is only like a 1 mile an hour increase in speed. But I do have several theories for that. I thought I'd get like 2-3 minimum, to be honest. But like I say, I do have a couple of theories as to why we only got a small increase. The first of which is that road. I mean, this time of year, it does get used as a lot. It's a football training ground, basically. That road is like an access road, and there is an awful lot of mud and sand that gets traipsed up and down that road. It is very slippy, and I must admit, it is very difficult to keep the car on track when you send it up and down the road. So the road conditions aren't the best. This isn't a brilliant road anyway, to be honest. The other is the possibility it was these tyres. Now, when I swapped them over, they're about the same diameter as the old set, but with one significant difference is the old HBX set, they actually balloon quite significantly with speed. So obviously, as you're going tearing arsing up and down the road, these things are ballooning out slightly, and obviously increasing the diameter, and that's having an effect on the gearing, basically. And I did notice that these Xinlehong tyres don't do it whatsoever. There is a lot less grip on tarmac than these things, I must admit, but these don't balloon out whatsoever. So it might be, as when we tested it before, the expansion of the tyres is actually giving us a bit more top end, and obviously removing them and putting the old ones back on, you get none of that. So we've lost diameter in the tyres, but we've obviously gained a couple of teeth on the pinion, but they've in fact counteracted one another. We've ended up with a net zero increase really in performance. Like I say, I would have thought I would have got a few mile an hour quicker out of this thing, but sadly not. We'll have to try it again, a better day really, and a better road, and let this thing stretch its legs and see if we can't get a bit more out of it. But anyway, on the plus side, I found a pinion for the 901A here, and we've also got a pinion coming for a little Eachine buggy there, so we'll be able to try that. So every cloud has a silver lining. I will of course leave links in the description as to where you can get the various pinions from. If you found this video of some use and interest, please give it a big thumbs up, and if you're feeling that way inclined, hit that subscribe button for more similar future content. Once again guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you again very, very soon.